Hello and welcome. You are watching News 9 Live. My name is Pankaj Mishra. With me is my colleague Varghese P. Abrahams, and today we are discussing Stalin versus Governor Ravi. That is something which has been playing out for quite some time, and amid the ongoing tussle between Tamil Nadu Governor and Ravi and MK Stalin led the state government, the government would pass a resolution in the state assembly on Monday, which is today, to urge the centre and president to give immediate appropriate instructions to the governor to approve the bills sent to him after being passed in the assembly. Earlier this month, Tamil Nadu Governor Ravi, while interacting with the civil services aspirants, explained the role of the governor in the constitution and said that he has the option to give assent or withhold the bill passed by the assembly, and added that the letter means the bill is dead. The governor said that withholding is a decent language used for the bill to get rejected. Joining us on the broadcast is Sriram Sheshadri, political analyst, and obviously, as mentioned, Varghese stays with us here. Mr. Sheshadri, let me begin with you first. So this whole tug of war between the chief minister and the governor, this is not new. We have seen this in other states as well. But why Tamil Nadu is standing out and becoming an example as of now? What is the hassle?
Good afternoon, Pankaj. I think Stalin wants to prove that he wants to have an upper hand over center, or he wants to show that, he is a dictator, because he has called himself to be, don't make me to become a dictator. So that is what he is trying to do. Ever since DMK came to power, Mr. Stalin's administration flaws are coming out very frequently. So to divert the attention, he needs to take on the center, as well as he needs to take on the administration, and that's where the governor becomes an easy option, so that he can keep the public at imagination that he is trying to do whatever he had promised, but the central government or the governor is a stumbling block. Say, for example, Mr. Stalin, before coming to power, promised that the first decision would be to abolish need, knowing very well that he cannot do it without Supreme Court's consent. And even by passing a resolution, passing a law in the state assembly, it is still going to be struck down by the Supreme Court. And he had passed 12 resolutions to replace the governor with CM as the chancellor for the universities, which is against the UGC statute. So that is why governor had not given assent. Then he went about creating a statute to change the cooperative societies elected members, or elected members of the cooperative society at will, which is also against the statutes of governing the Cooperative Society Act, etc. So all these bills that are pending with today, I think 14 bills are pending with. I think the 15th one is the online rummy. Only place where I can probably in a way to express the emotion, knowing very well as an analyst, I can say that online rummy is causing havoc in the society and then several deaths. It is a personal choice one makes, though, but the state has a responsibility, wants to restrict it. A governor, knowing very well that the Supreme Court has ruled against banning anything of skill set. The rummy is a game of skill set, and betting is a game of skill set, or rather betting on the basis of the skill is still not prevented, and then Supreme Court has ruled in that manner. So governor is not able to accord approval to that. So knowing very well that Supreme Court will strike down, governor ideally should have gone and given a consent to that particular bill, because it has a larger repercussion on the society. So that's the only place where I will concur with the ruling government, that the governor could have taken the moral high ground and then say given assent, and then eventually it will be struck down by the Supreme Court. But as an analyst, I can say that, but a preserver of constitution may not be in a position to take that sort of emotional decision. I think that is why he is not giving consent or assent to those bills. So this is a topic where Mr. Stalin can kindle the public emotion and then fight against. And moreover, look at 14th of April is approaching, and Annamalai, the BJP state president, is going to come out with a list of corruption because he had promised over 2.2 lakh crore worth of illicit money that has been hoarded by the DMK ministers and DMK functionaries. So, in order to divert the attention, they are upping the ante against the governor, so that the public mood will be channelized and then diverted towards this, rather than any expose or any political statements made by Annamalai. So all these put together, I think they are creating upping the ante against the governor, and that is
Right.
what is the reason behind all these. But
Right.
what the governor said is a fact. He was talking to aspiring civil servants, and he was explaining the Article 200 of the Constitution. As a governor, what is the role for him when assembly passes a statute? As a
Right.
upkeeper of the Constitution, custodian of the Constitution, the governor has a role to check and balance, create a check and balance in the administration of the state. I think that is where he is playing this role, in my opinion, Pankaj, and that is the reason why there is a friction between the governor and the ruling government of DMK is coming to fray. In my opinion, this is not new, but the reasons behind why the timing of that is precisely to prevent any attention or by the masses or the people on the misgovernance and the list that is going to come out on April 14th, the Tamil New Year Day. I think all these is putting together. Mr. Stalin is creating some amount of diversion tactics, in my opinion.
Right. Mr. Seshadri, stay with us. Obviously, very vital points that Shriram Seshadri has made, Varghese, and obviously looking at it from the governor's point of view too. It's difficult to actually pinpoint at what point of time did the governor drop the ball, or is it a constitutional flaw, or for that matter, the state government is pressing hard on the governor. In your opinion, how do you see this whole episode folding out as of now?
Well, as of now, it looks like Stalin, as Seshadri was saying, had to take a stand against the center, look like championing the cause of Tamil Nadu. But over here, both of them are relying on technicalities within the constitution. Technically speaking, when the bill has been given for assent, now there is no question of how long a governor can sit on it and then return the bill.
Right.
So we don't know, that is not clearly defined. And if the bill is again second time adopted by the assembly after being returned and it is given back to them, the governor is bound to in fact pass it. But then there's the issue about this bill being given for the president's nod. And then the issue about bills that would become laws when it comes to the concurrent list. So all these technicalities is what the governors as well as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu's entire conflict is now based on. So right now what we are seeing over here is Stalin now going on an all-out war. NEET is a very emotional issue in Tamil Nadu.
Right.
We have seen suicides of students because of it. And when the anti-NEET bill was passed, it is also in abeyance right now. Now here the question is about withhold. When he has gone ahead and interpreted as probably these bills being dead, it is to say that the bills, or the 20 odd bills that are there with the governor, some of them might not see the light of day is what is being spoken about. So against this, we have the DMK coming out with its complete strength with that particular resolution. So this conflict between these two constitutional offices, that is the legislature as well as the governor's office, it's going to be played out. So the council of ministers and the governors probably going to go on this pitched battle for quite along these technical lines of the constitution.
Right, Mr. Seshadri, very thin line, a grey area that segregates this whole episode of for how long the governor can hold on to a bill, and if the assembly has passed it the second time, whether it is incumbent on the governor or not, and this whole presidential nod to constitutionally or legally, if I may ask you, where does this whole case stand, and where does it appear to be going ahead?
Pankaj, I think one should remember the Article 200 of the Constitution in this case. Our forefathers of the Constitution, headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Constitution Assembly, when they created this post as a governor, it is to create a checks and balances because we are that time we were uniting 540 princely states to become a nation. And any time any of the aspirant can create a seditionary move and then want to split away. So that is why the checks and balances were created in the form of the governor and the president as against the democratic elected leaders. So that's the spirit of the constitution. When you look at that way, governor has a power to either give assent or reject or send it to presidential consent or withhold or hold on to it. And there is no timeline that has been given in the constitution for the governor. How long can he keep the bill in abeyance? That is very conscious decision by the Constitutional Assembly so that if say for example, let's take one example. If any state passes a resolution unanimously by all the elected parties that we want to break away from the Union of India and then form a separate country. So is that the will of the people? Because the entire house has passed unanimously. So it is against the constitution, against the nation. So governor cannot give assent to that. So a governor actually rejects the bill. If the assembly again passes the same bill without any changes, according to the constitution, the governor has to give assent or send it for presidential concern. And president also rejects it. So what happens? How many times a president can reject it? So it is silent in the constitution about it. So that is where the checks and balances are created, and the spirit of the constitution should be understood. So the aspiration of regional autonomy by the DMK, if it stretches beyond a point, I think, constitutionally the governor is allowed to sit on this bill without taking any action. And when the term ends by 2026, the bill automatically becomes null and void because the new house has to pass it and then send it again. Because the bill pending for assent and
Right. Right, Mr. Seshadri, stay with us. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin is speaking in the Assembly. Let's listen in. And Varghese would help us understand what the Chief Minister is saying.
மக்கள் பிரதிநிதியாக இருக்கக்கூடிய உங்கள் கருத்துக்கள் இவை அனைத்தையும் சேர்த்துத்தான் உருவாக்குகிறோம். இப்படி பார்த்து பார்த்து உருவாக்கிய சட்டங்களை தன்னுடைய விருப்பு வெறுப்பால் தடை போட்டுவிட்டு
the responsibility to bring in laws appropriately for the benefit of the people of the state.
அதனை நம்பும் அளவுக்கு தமிழ்நாடு ஏமாந்தவர்கள் இருக்கக்கூடிய மாநிலம் அல்ல.
The people's representatives are not here to cheat the people of Tamil Nadu after they have given them a promise.
சொற்களை தவிர்த்துவிட்டு ஆளுநர் உரையாற்றியதை திருத்துவதற்காகவும் அரசின் ஆளுநர் உரையை முழுமையாக பதிவு செய்வதற்காகவும் நானே முன்மொழிந்து இந்த ஆண்டின் முதல் கூட்டத்தொடரில் 9/1/2023 அன்று ஒரு தீர்மானம் நிறைவேற்றினோம். இன்று இதே மன்றத்தில் உங்கள் முன் ஒரு தீர்மானத்தை மொழிகிறேன். மாண்புமிகு பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களே, தீர்மானம்: தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்களின் பேராதரவை பெற்று ஆட்சி பொறுப்புக்கு வந்துள்ள தமிழ்நாடு அரசுக்கு தமது மக்களின் எதிர்பார்ப்புகளையும் தேவைகளையும் நிறைவேற்ற வேண்டிய அரசமைப்பு சட்டத்தின்படியான பொறுப்பும் ஜனநாயக ரீதியான கடமையும் உள்ளது. இவற்றை கருத்தில் கொண்டு மாண்புமிக்க இந்த சட்டமன்ற பேரவைக்குள்ள
The resolution is now being passed by the DMK in the Tamil Nadu Assembly.
சட்டமேற்றும் பொறுப்புகளின் அடிப்படையில் தமிழ்நாடு சட்டமன்ற பேரவை நிறைவேற்றி அனுப்பியுள்ள பல்வேறு மசோதாக்களை
bills and ordinances that have been given or passed by the Assembly is bound to be passed by the Governor.
இப்பேரவை மிகுந்த வருத்தத்துடன் பதிவு செய்கிறது. அது மட்டுமின்றி தமிழ்நாடு சட்டமன்ற பேரவை நிறைவேற்றி அனுப்பிய மசோதாக்கள் குறித்து பொதுவெளியில் மாண்புமிகு ஆளுநர் அவர்கள் தெரிவிக்கும் சர்ச்சைக்குரிய கருத்துகள், அவர் வகிக்கும் பதவி, எடுத்துக்கொண்ட பதவி பிரமாணம்,
the governor, according to the oath he has taken, is supposed to follow by the processes that are there prescribed by the Constitution for passing of bills as well as the amendments to the laws.
சிறுமைப்படுத்தும் வகையில் அமைந்திருக்கிறது. எனவே மாநில மக்களின் குரலாக விளங்கும் சட்டமன்றங்களில் நிறைவேற்றி அனுப்பப்படும் மசோதாக்களுக்கு அந்தந்த மாநில ஆளுநர்கள் ஒப்புதல் வழங்க ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட கால நிர்ணயம் செய்யப்பட வேண்டும் என்று ஒன்றிய அரசையும் மாண்புமிகு குடியரசுத் தலைவர்களை வலியுறுத்துவது என்றும் மக்களாட்சி தத்துவம் மற்றும் ஆட்சிமை பொருந்திய சட்டமன்றத்தின் இறையாண்மை ஆகியவற்றுக்கு களங்கம் விளைவிக்கும் வகையில்
This is in
தொடர்ந்து
fact
தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்களின் நலனுக்கு எதிராக செயல்படுவதை தவிர்த்து
an insult
தமிழ்நாடு
to
சட்டமன்ற
the
பேரவையில்
democratic nature of
சட்டமேற்றும் அதிகாரத்தை
the country as well as through the elected representatives who have been given an opportunity by the people of Tamil Nadu.
ஆளுநருக்கு உரிய அறிவுரைகள் அந்த அறிவுரைகளை ஒன்றிய அரசும் மாண்புமிகு குடியரசுத் தலைவரும் உடனடியாக வழங்கிட வேண்டும் என்றும் இந்த பேரவை ஒருமனதாக வலியுறுத்துகிறது எனும் தீர்மானத்தை நான்
We
மொழிகிறேன்.
in fact passed this resolution with the concerned observations that we have made.
மாண்புமிகு உறுப்பினர்கள் அனைவரும் இந்த தீர்மானத்தை ஒருமனதாக நிறைவேற்றி தர வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டு அமைகிறேன். வணக்கம்.
We request the authorities to ensure that our requests are immediately met and the matter is taken up immediately.
பேச வருகின்ற மாண்புமிகு உறுப்பினர்கள், நம்முடைய மாண்புமிகு முதலமைச்சர் சொன்ன கருத்தின் அடிப்படையில் உங்களுடைய பொருள் இருக்க வேண்டும். அந்த அடிப்படையில் பேச வேண்டும், சுருக்கமாக பேச வேண்டும் என்று அன்போடு கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். மாண்புமிகு உறுப்பினர் வேல்முருகன்.
மாண்புமிகு பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களே,
Right. So Tamil Nadu government moving a resolution in the state assembly urging the union government and the president to immediately issue appropriate instructions to the Tamil Nadu governor to give assent to the bills passed by the assembly within a specific period of time, and that was what the Chief Minister Stalin was speaking on and giving the reasons for why should their resolution should be heeded. And DMK and its alliance partners voted in favor of the resolution as understood, but AIADMK MLAs staged a walkout from the assembly alleging that they were not given time to speak in the house. Obviously, AIADMK trying to steer clear of the situation as of now. Mr. Sheshadri, one quick question I wanted to have with you. Depending on the nature of the bill too, on what particular aspect, what particular topic, what particular reason the bill is on, this particular brouhaha as of now is emanating primarily from the fact that the NEET bill, which is still in cold storage as the government would say, Tamil Nadu government would say, do you believe that the states, the centers, impression of the NEET exams, the NEET, the whole episode of the untoward incident that has happened in Tamil Nadu specifically, do you believe that somewhere down the line, both the state government and the center are at loggerheads regarding the severity of the scenario, and that's why this anti-NEET bill has been stalled?
Pankaj, I think the NEET is here to stay, and what the DMK has done is they had gone too overboard that they have the authority to cancel the NEET bill because this is a concurrent list. Higher education is in the concurrent list, and then just to get the votes and then create a emotion amongst the public, they use this as a ploy. Say, I was just listening to the resolution passed by Mr. Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. He says that the president should direct the governor to give assent to the bill. How would he give it? I see, out of 80 odd bills that has been sent to governor for approval in the last 2 years or 2.5 years of this DMK government, this governor has sat on 14 bills. I listed that 12 for the conversion of 12 bills to make the CM as a chancellor as against the governor, which is against the UGC law, NEET bill, and there is an online rummy bill, and then the 15th one is a cooperative societies amendment. So all are against the existing laws or the Supreme Court verdicts. So that and rest of the other 65 or 67 bills that have been sent so far to the governor had been given assent. So where is that the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister or the DMK government is finding a fault constitutionally that the governor is doing something wrong? If the governor is doing something wrong against the constitution, the government has a recourse in the Supreme Court. They can go and file a case in a High Court or Supreme Court to give a direction. They did that in the 7-member release of 7 convicts of Rajiv Gandhi assassination.
Right.
So, and last point I want to make, Pankaj, is DMK was the deciding factor of central government for over 17 years in both in Vajpayee government and in Manmohan Singh government. And they never bothered about changing the constitution at that point in time, whereas now they are finding it difficult because their poll promise, which they knew very well cannot be held on to, because the governor is putting a spoke on the wheel of their poll promise, they just want to take this opportunity to blame the governor and then set a narrative with the public that, you know, the government took all its measures, but the governor and the central government is at flaw. I think, you know, people are not fools to believe all these narrative setting, in my humble opinion. It is better the the DMK party goes to the public and then said, we over-promise, and in this case, we will not be holding on to the promise.
Right, Mr.
And
Sheshadri.
that would be the ideal way of doing very decent politics, in my opinion. And otherwise, you know, this conflict is going to more and more
Continue
erupt.
for some more
And
time.
on top of that, public are
Right.
realizing that the government is failing on its promises, not only on multiple other
Right,
promises.
Mr. Sheshadri.
I think this will be one more failure from their government, in my opinion.
Right, to Mr. Sheshadri, Varghese, sorry we have run out of time here, but indeed the chess game sort of scenario that is evolving in Tamil Nadu as of now is something that we'll be keeping a close eye on. Thanks for watching.